Okay, this video is going to be a summary of an Alex Hormozi video called The Anti-Routine, What Billionaires Use to Win. I think that being able to teach something to other people and effectively summarize it and distill that information into something digestible for the other person, which I'm going to attempt to do for you right now, is the best way to actually master that information yourself. So I literally just watched this video yesterday and rewatched it this morning. I thought it was absolutely groundbreaking in its simplicity and effectiveness. Basically, the entire video is teaching you how to say no because if you can't make a decision, I think that the Latin definition of the decision is basically like to kill or to cut off, meaning like to get rid of the alternative. You can't have A and B in tandem. You have to get rid of one to have the other. And I think that the majority of people go through life never making a decision about anything, never giving up something to get something else. And it leads to all kinds of pain and suffering and regret. And my hope is that I can, put a stop to that in my own life. And as I'm doing that, by regurgitating the information and the things that are working for me, hopefully it can benefit you as well. So bear with me. This is the 5th episode of Create Your Dream Life. And again, the point with this whole thing is to just basically document my progression towards self-actualization, which is basically the realization of my full potential in all areas. So it's golf, fitness, mental health, spirituality, relationships, finance. As I'm learning things from people like Alex Hormozi, as I'm going into the real world, having experience competing in golf tournaments, I'm going to try to package it up in an interesting way for you guys that hopefully relates to your own problems and offers a solution to your problems. So there was my 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch for what this video is going to be about. And with that, let me get into the good stuff. Alex Hormozi basically said he himself is a 9-figure earner, and he said all of his peer groups that are at or above his success level and earning level do not have a daily routine. And this is like one of the most common things talked about when you start getting into the self-improvement community, figuring out what you can do to change the course of your life and get a better result. It's all about routines, right? And this is exactly what I've done. This is my own personal path. You start to learn about, meditation, and you start to learn about taking ice baths, and you start to learn about getting up at 5 a.m. and then journaling gratitude, and then going for a walk outside first thing every day, and exercising every day, and eating clean every day, and fasting. And it's just this like myriad of positive, life-changing tactics on their own. But the problem or potential problem, at least in my experience, is that you can start to layer so many of these things on top of one another that you spend 14 hours a day just on your self-improvement routine. And yes, you may be feeling awesome, and it may be necessary to bridge the gap between some really unhealthy habits and just being miserable and having a poor, lifestyle. It can help you bridge the gap. But then at a certain point, once you've got enough information, you've watched enough self-help videos, you've taken some control of the basic things in your life, you're eating better, you're getting more sleep, you're exercising. Once you know what you need to work on to become successful, either in your business or getting better at your job, whatever the thing is you're trying to improve that got you into self-improvement and made you think, I need to take like accountability in life and make a change in the first place. Once you've got a hold of what that information is, you need to act on it. And a lot of times, all of these different self-improvement habits are really just a more gratifying and better feeling way of continuing to procrastinate, because it feels productive. It's like, oh, but I'm going to watch another video from this guy and this guy and this guy and keep learning. But the problem is, if you don't have a process of learn, implement, fail, learn some more, implement, fail, figure out what you did wrong, learn what you need to learn to overcome that, try again. This is the iterative process that actually leads to results and success. And I think this is what we all want when we get into the self-improvement space. So Alex was basically saying the most successful people do not have a routine. Their routine is to say no, to remove things from their routine that are not absolutely necessary for their number one priority, the lever moving task in their business or life. To get that to move forward. So he's basically saying you need to step into a season of saying no to everything. He goes on to say that the majority of people think the reason champions are champions is because they have something that regular people don't have. And again, Alex says this is not true. Champions actually lack something that the majority of people do have. Champions don't have an off switch. They just keep going and repeating the boring fundamentals, even when they're not seeing results in the short term. And the average people actually do have an off switch, and they can work a little bit for a while on something, and then if they don't see results, they hit the off switch and they flip on Netflix, or they go take a vacation, or they pick a new career path, or they say, you know what, this content stuff is stupid because I posted every day for 90 days and I don't have 100,000 followers yet. And it's like, guess what, bro? I've been posting on average probably every day for the last 7 years, and we're just now starting to get to the good part where things are going to explode. And it's like, yes, you can get lucky and achieve $1 million or achieve 1 million followers or whatever the goal you have is. You can get lucky and have that happen quickly. But I would bet 9 times out of 10 on the slow and steady, long game of repeating the boring fundamentals and not having shiny object syndrome and jumping to the next thing as a cope for the fact that you just simply don't want to keep doing the boring, repetitive fundamentals, knowing damn well that in the long run, if you did it every day for 10 years, there's no chance you wouldn't be massively successful and wealthy. Number 2, Alex talks about needing to prioritize your tasks and your goals. Things cannot be equal. If you spend 30 minutes on task A and 30 minutes on task B, you can tell yourself that they're equal priority, but the reality is they're simply not. Something has to be more important than the other thing, or else you don't know how to spend your time and you don't know how to allocate your limited resources of attention and energy to moving the things forward that are the most important to you in life. So case in point for where I'm at right now, and a little bit of story time to hopefully humanize this very lecture style piece of content right now. I have goals in multiple areas. I'm definitely the type of person that's like, I want it all, right? And this comes from eternal optimism, delusional self-belief, and then actually putting in the work to have massive fucking confidence, because for about 20 years of my life, I would say I've been a pretty high performer, high achiever, good work ethic, good discipline. And so the combination of those things and being born into a fortunate environment where I actually had opportunity to move up in life, and super grateful for that. And that's something that can't be, you have to take this with a grain of salt, because obviously not everyone's in that position. But given those things, I do believe I can have it all. And I do believe it's possible to achieve a myriad of goals over the course of my life. And that's the main distinguishing factor that I have to remind myself of all the time, where I sometimes make a mistake, is thinking I can have it all at the same time. Now, case in point, you maybe don't know this depending on if this is the first video of mine you've watched, but I am a professional golfer. I have competed for 7 years off and on a bunch of different tours all over the world. I have won professional golf tournaments. I've played at a higher level than most, even though in my mind it's, been lacking of where I would like to get to, because I've had friends that I believe I'm equivalently talented to that have exceeded far above my talent level and results in golf. So I've been a pro golfer. I've been passionate about fitness. I've always been into weightlifting. I've been obsessed with building a personal brand through social media. Once I realized the potential impact I could have by not only setting goals in my own life with golf and fitness and pursuing them and hopefully getting there, but then if I shared that online with content in a documentary style, TV show about my entire life and the progression, which I've been doing for 7 or 8 years, I realized, wow, I could potentially positively impact millions of people throughout my lifetime and change their lives for the better. That's pretty fucking awesome. And that's something that I've decided is a top priority for me. Now, this is great, right? But the problem is I've just named 3 equivalently high priority items. I've said that all 3 of these things are my top priorities, and each one of them has like 19 subsets underneath, right? In order to be a top tier pro golfer, that means I have to work with a swing coach and a putting coach and work on course strategy and play with friends that are better than me and play in tournaments and take lessons weekly. To be sick at bodybuilding and fitness, I have to be in the gym 5-6 times a week. I have to be on top of my meal prep. I have to get great sleep. I have to go through recovery techniques like ice baths, sauna, walking, stretching, yoga, and then to be a top tier content creator, I have to record videos every day. I have to edit videos every day. I have to distribute them on 4 different platforms. I have to iterate on the videos and cut them into shorter clips and redistribute them and triple down on the things that are working. And then I have to find a way to provide value to the people that are really interested in my content and build courses for them and offer coaching platforms and mentorship. And it's like, whoa, dude, take a breath. You just listed like 64 different things that are all equally important to make these three goals simultaneously happen: being a top tier pro athlete, being in incredible physical shape, and having an impactful personal brand that not only provides value, but also has width and reach and gets to a lot of people at scale as a one-man show. And obviously the onlooker listening to me say all of this would say, you gotta be kidding, there's no possible way. Yet my brain does think it's possible. However, what Alex Hormozi is getting at in this video, he's speaking directly to someone like myself, saying like, you may be more successful than the average person and doing a lot of things well and moving incrementally forward in multiple categories as I currently am, but he's saying you'll never get to that nine figure a year earner type level with that mentality. You have to get ruthless about saying no and just cut things out of the equation of your day-to-day life that aren't the most important thing. And so this is tough because I identify with all of those things I just said. They are a part of how I view myself, which basically is my ego. And as humans, we have a strong need and desire to keep our ego alive. We have to maintain our self-image and identity, or else we feel like we're dying. It's in our head. We're clearly not going to die. You know, if I stopped being a golfer tomorrow, I would keep living and I would be okay. But because I've identified so strongly and attached so much emotion to that identity that I have, I'm willing to go to almost any end to defend to myself mentally that I am who I say I am and I am who other people think I am. And that makes it hard to make a decision or to cut off or kill off one of these slivers of my identity. And it doesn't have to be forever, I don't think. This is my interpretation of what Alex is saying. It doesn't have to be forever, but I think only one thing can be top priority at any given season in life. And so I think where I'm at right now is a crossroads where I need to make a decision between either bodybuilding, professional golf, or content. And I could go on and on about why this is so hard. You might be like, oh, well, that's easy, just pick one. But I believe that the reason my content is interesting and differentiated from anybody else just blabbing about self-improvement the same way that I am is that I'm also an experimenter and I'm in the real world putting these things into implementation as a pro golfer and in the gym and in all these different arenas of life that I test myself frequently. And so I sit here thinking like, God, how could I make content if I wasn't actively playing pro golf and experimenting in these different things and signing up for a bodybuilding show and, you know, testing myself so that I could show people like, well, the things that I'm talking about actually do get results. And I admittedly don't really have the answer to that. It's pretty much just in the last like day or two that this has become super apparent to me that I have to say no to almost everything. I have to prioritize. Something has to be top priority in my life that I can use as a filter for what I will say no to and a North Star, knowing like, hey, you know, put the blinders on. There's all kinds of people offering you things and opportunities wrapped up as shiny packages that may be great or they may be a waste of your time. All this stuff inbound every day, emails, texts, DMs, comments, this company, that company, management agency, friends, family. Put the blinders on. The one thing you're trying to do, whether it's pro golf, whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's building a personal brand online that breaks through the noise and the saturation and allows you to actually speak a valuable, meaningful message that you yourself are living to millions of other people and help them. Pick one of those things, work exclusively on that thing now to the exclusion of everything else, achieve what you're trying to achieve in that lane. Then we can step back, reevaluate, say, okay, cool. Now I can get to the number 2 priority that I had to put on the back burner for 2 years there while I worked on this first thing. That, I think, is the way to live a fulfilling life and achieve multiple goals in different areas without just spinning your wheels, doing a billion things every day, looking super busy without actually getting anything done. So Alex went on to say he doesn't reply to messages. He changed his phone number and at a certain point realized like, hey, everybody sending me text messages and emails and DMs and comments is effectively implying an ask. They are making an ask of me for my reply, which is energy and time and effort. And these are finite resources that we can't get more of. And at a certain point, as your business or your personal fame or notoriety escalates to a certain level, you can't keep up with all the inbound requests. You know, there are some people in the world that probably get 10,000 messages per day. And at a certain point, it's like, okay, am I obligated to reply to all of those? Of course not. No one in their, nobody could do that. That would require a team of robots or people working around the clock to get back to that many messages. And that's just to reply once. And then that's going to spark a conversation. And so he said he just basically made no his default, and he struggled with it a lot. And I'm in the same place right now, because for people outside looking in that maybe don't see your vision or don't realize how, effective and efficient you have to be with your time to take care of your responsibilities on a daily basis, because maybe they're not in the same place in life, it can come off as offensive to them, right? Like, hey, bro, why aren't you getting back to me? Hey, bro, I just want to talk on the phone for an hour here and there. And it's like, again, depending on your goals and your priorities in life, if you are a ambitious young man or woman trying to achieve a lot of things in life, you will quickly realize how finite time is and how much we need to prioritize and basically play defense on incoming requests and asks and things that are posed as opportunities or networking events or things that we think we need to be at to meet this person and that person. If you don't know anything and you don't have any information, sure, be a sponge and be a yes man and say yes to all these opportunities. But if you already know what you need to do, which is definitely where I feel like I am right now, I don't need any more input. I don't need advice. I don't need any opinions. This is my vision and I believe in it wholeheartedly, 100%. And this is what I'll be working on for the rest of my life. And so I feel like it's basically anything that isn't me working on this vision is a waste of time and a distraction. And you don't need to be a dick about it. And I struggle with this because I'm totally a people pleaser. I want to say yes to everybody. I want everyone to like me all the time. And I've maintained that for most of my life. And I'm sitting here looking back at how I've spent the last 10 to 15 years of my adult professional life, realizing that 99% of those people that I worked my ass off to keep happy do not give a fuck about me. They don't even know how hard I worked to reply to all of their requests and to meet them where they were and to offer guidance in this way or that way and spend the time I spent with them. It's like, it's not even appreciated. It wasn't even acknowledged. And that's not even a dig at them. It's just like, people are inherently selfish. We're all taking care of ourselves first and foremost because that's how you survive. We have to place our own needs above literally everyone else. If not, we may not allocate our limited resources and money and time to keeping ourselves alive. If we were wrapped up in another person more than ourselves, that could lead to poor health and bad outcomes for ourselves. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you really can't be there for anybody else. So being selfish is actually the most selfless thing you can do, I've come to realize. And it doesn't mean that it comes without some pushback from people and some emotional challenges and a few traumatic experiences where you're going through breakups with friends or relationships or even family. That's the hardest. But you got to realize that this path to living life on your terms and doing what you've deemed as important with your one shot at life, it is a bit of a lonely path at first until you break through the noise and actually do something, get a foothold in the business or the entrepreneurial world or whatever your thing is, until you've actually stayed in your lane for enough years with your head down to produce something of real value to catch the attention of other big players in your particular area of life or niche of content or whatever the case is. Until you've done that, it is lonely for sure, because you're saying so long to your high school buddies and the people that are from your hometown that are mad at you because they think that you think you're a big shot, even though it may not be that at all. It's just like, hey man, this is not personal. This is literally me realizing what needs to be done so that I don't wind up one day old and filled with regret that I didn't do the things that I could have done that would have made me feel awesome and confident and fulfilled, that would have let me be a light into the world and attracted the things I want, attracted the right friends and the right partner, and had an amazing family, and really, put my stamp on the world, made it a better place, and then even paved the way for my offspring to do the same, hopefully in their own unique way. I'll never get to that point if I don't stop replying to every text, every call, every DM, every email, every request, making sure I say yes to everyone, making sure that nobody can ever say anything bad about me, like, oh, that guy changed, he switched up, he thinks he's a big shot now just because of this, this, and this. He doesn't get back to me now. And it's like, no, dude, that's not it at all. But if you have the time to sit there and analyze what I'm doing this much and make up this false narrative in your head and assume that this is personal and I've got it out for you, or I'm trying to make a statement by not replying, it's like, no, I'm just actually busy and I had to make a blanket decision one time to save myself from making this decision 1,000 times over the next year. Just saying like, hey, if this doesn't relate to my business, if this isn't a direct responsibility of mine, like communicating with a partner of mine, or a coworker or an employee of mine, if this doesn't directly relate to my family or the people in my immediate circle that I'm taking care of, or vice versa, then it doesn't get my time and attention for now. This doesn't have to be forever, because I'm sure some people are sitting here listening to this and thinking like, dude, this guy's got his priorities backwards. Sounds like a horrible, lonely, cynical way to live life. Even if you are successful and make $1 million, what's it going to be worth if you don't have anyone to share it with? And it's like, you know, all valid points. And I'm not saying you need to live your whole life this way. But again, if you have lofty goals and you don't see yourself progressing in a way that seems like in the long run you're going to get there, then these are the changes you need to make. You need to audit yourself. It's probably different for everyone, but I think in general, most people spend a hell of a lot of time every day doing things that don't need to be done to feel busy and productive and feel like they're grinding and hustling and making moves, when in reality, all they're doing is carrying on conversations that are meaningless and wasting not only their time, but also the other person's time. You're not doing the other people a favor either by continuing to hold that place in their life where you just talk shit about random gossip and sports and go out for beers 3 times a week and complain about your wife, complain about your job, complain about the economy, complain about politics. It's like, not only are you saving yourself, but you're saving the other person too by not being an enabler for that kind of behavior anymore. So apologize that this has gotten, actually, no, I don't apologize, but this has gotten longer than I thought it would. I meant to just kind of like directly regurgitate and summarize the key points from Alex's talk, but now it's kind of turned into a little bit of my own talk as well, which is fine. This is my own YouTube channel, so hopefully anybody here watching it at least has a fraction of interest in the personal stories that I bring to the table. So I'm going to cap it at that for now. Summary is learn to say no. It will be hard at first. There will be friction and resistance to it at first. You may even get called an asshole a couple times, but I promise you, in the long run, it is the right choice. It will pay off, and you're making space for the new awesome things to come in your life. You can't forge those new relationships with people in the success level that you aspire to be at and the people you look up to that inspire you. You can't get there and bring everyone with you. It's noble to try, but in most cases, it's a waste of energy and breath. People aren't going to come with you until they're ready to come with you, and they'll make that expressly clear. And then in that case, I say, sure, reach a hand back, a helping hand, and encourage people to go down the same path you went down, offer any help you can. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Hope that it resonated for some of you. If you like this video, please like it. If you'd like to see more rants about golf, fitness, self-improvement, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, self-actualization, hit the subscribe button, share this video with someone that you think might find it helpful, leave a comment with any future ideas for videos you would like me to make, and have a great fucking day. Peace.